Well, Nadina Ronc joins me now live in the studio. She's a Bosnian journalist based in the UK. Nadina, thank you very much indeed for joining us. So this ruling has taken a long time to get to an ultimate decision. Do you think it's enough? What do you make of it?
Look, it's not enough because 8,500 people were killed in Srebrenica, not just 300. So where is the justice for all of them? And partial responsibility, what does that actually mean?
And the court also rejected a claim that the Dutch government should also have been held responsible for the thousands of Muslims who were outside this military base, trying to avoid what ultimately happened to them.
Well, look, the Dutch UN peacekeepers were tasked with protecting these people, but they forced them out of the compound and into the hands of the Serbs, who then committed the genocide on them.
But the Dutch say the problem was the mandate that they were given. The mandate wasn't strong enough, and that was given to them by NATO. It was very limited, and therefore their hands were tied. What do you say to that?
Well, they could have called for backup, because Serbs, Dutch have claimed that the Serbs would have come into their battalion and would have dragged those people out and would have committed the genocide anyway. But to be quite honest with you, they could have called for backup because Bosnia was crawling with the UN peacekeepers. So why did they not?
The Dutch government at the time, back in 2002, resigned because of this. The UN and Western partners have accepted part of the responsibility for what happened, and damages will be paid to victims' families. So what more do you want to see done?
I want there to be justice for the victims of the war in Srebrenica and the war in Bosnia as a whole. 30% they claim that they will pay off. That is not even the payment, really. Nothing is going to bring back these young men and men in general who were killed by the Serbs. Nothing is going to bring them back. But if we have justice for Bosnia and justice for the mothers of Srebrenica, who have been fighting firstly to find the remains of their loved ones, and some have been buried as partial bodies, not full, because, as you know, the bodies were buried and then reburied again. So firstly, there needs to be justice, and the sort of justice needs to be that the war criminals who have committed those crimes are not released for good behavior after 10, 20 years. If you see Karadzic, he got 40 years, but I'm willing to say that he will probably be released after 15 or 20 if he doesn't die in that jail. Šešelj was released. He is in Serbia. He's enjoying his life, and he will probably die in the comfort of his home, something that was not afforded to his victims. And I think the West needs to take the responsibility and needs to say that the genocide is happening in entire Bosnia, and needs to acknowledge that it's not just 300 people, which the number I don't even know where that comes from, but it is over 8,500 people who were murdered systematically just because they were Muslims.
It's a very emotive subject. Thank you very much indeed for joining us to talk about it with us. Nadina Ronc there.